So now the last topic we have for today is the cryptocurrency mining processor.
Hmm.
And I'm guessing out this is the piece of hardware that Nvidia are bringing out. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, so we mentioned on the last one. I did
Yeah.
mention it, and I think as we were talking about it, only a few days afterwards, that Nvidia did confirm that they were actually going to do this and start releasing it. As well as an additional thing, which was interesting, was that the 3060 that they were going to start releasing was going to get throttled, so that it would be less efficient to run essentially mining type kind of hash calculation. So what it was doing there was specifically in the drivers, it was causing it to be less attractive to purchase a 3060 for crypto mining versus their particular kind of CMP processor.
I think the throttling was gonna happen for more than the 3060, or was it just?
I think they definitely said 3060, but I don't think they've confirmed the throttling is going to be on the 3070 and the 3080, because I'd imagine there'd be a lot of pissed off crypto miners if they suddenly just saw their 3070 3080 suddenly just go downgrade in performance. But I suspect there's also ways around it by tweaking the drivers, hacking the drivers, or not even upgrading the drivers just to keep the efficiency. So that I'm sure there's ways around it, which they probably haven't thought about, or they're probably trying to show. And that maybe is where I think I watched Linus's kind of update on some of this. He wasn't happy about this whole situation around what they were doing with it, because it's trying to feel like they're doing stuff for the gamer, but when in reality they're just interested in making money, which is what a corporation should do.
It's mostly about
And
PR.
mm,
It's a little bit disingenuous, I would say.
mm, mm,
It's clear that someone has to do something, if you know what I mean. I
yes,
mean, that much is
yeah,
clear. I don't want to criticize, somebody for trying to do something.
mm,
But,
mm, mm.
obviously we're not talking about whether you act, we're talking about the motivations of your action here.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I actually think that's a little bit murky.
Mm, it is. It is. It's one of those that stems a really difficult ground with crypto mining in general. And I think, the general public is starting to catch on to it. Just the basic sheer waste of resources to do this thing, and I think people are catching on to it because I think there was an article even on the BBC quite I was gonna say maybe a few weeks back, if not a month back now, where it said that they kind of either someone in Oxford or someone at a university had estimated the energy consumption of doing crypto mining was essentially all those rigs was equivalent to the whole of the energy consumption of Argentina. So there's literally a whole country's worth, and not a small country by any means, of energy output, the sort of carbon emissions and everything that's kind of around it, and that stipulation, and for what, right? So, which I don't think really has been thought about. So I think people are starting to catch up onto it, but it's taken a long time to get to this
Yeah, I
point.
certainly don't think it's something that the common man or the normal computer user could really make any
Mm,
money out of. Because, like you said, the energy, certainly the GPUs that we buy are not
yeah.
necessarily enterprise level. When I
Mm-hmm,
mean that, I mean they're not really designed to run 24/7.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that's what they're doing with these rigs, though. I mean, that's why the 3070s have sold out
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
of
that.
course.
They're literally just buying these rigs and running them to do mining. And I guess recently, because of the shooting up in the prices, It's become, how should I say, cost viable as the reason for them to go in to be back in that market, because it went quiet. I think even with some of the 20 series, and then it kind of gave up. Um, so there was a shift where I think the main shift was Bitcoin became too expensive. Ethereum was the other one that you can mine, and resulted in people kind of jumping on the in that bandwagon to start mining for Ethereum. But it's very, very murky. It's one of those me personally, I'm not a fan of that particular wasted energy and effort to do something that isn't really necessary. It was a scientific experiment that resulted in these algorithms.
But I think someone's making money out of it, and I think if
Mm,
you're a miner and you're a proper organization that mines, then you know what, you can afford to pay whatever you want to pay for these GPUs
Oh yeah.
and replace them when it goes faulty. But it's like, surely
Yeah.
it must be running a mini data center.
Oh yeah, pretty much. They're all just server based. They don't care about the visual output. As I was kind of saying last time, that basically these CMP cards will be specifically designed to run the hashing algorithms for crypto mining.
Yeah.
They're having to throttle the more retail based 3060 maybe, and they probably will do, like you're saying, to the 3070 and 3080 at some point. But I suspect they'll need to wait until that becomes more available.
But I hear that miners are able to. I mean, they're so cash rich, I guess.
Oh yeah.
They're able to get people to write biases for them.
Oh yeah. But there's also stories of buying up laptops to do this as well.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen literally rigs of laptops stacked on top of each other as makeshift servers.
That has got to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Because laptops are definitely not designed for that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they must have 100 fans pointed at them or something wrong. Or something silly. Because they're definitely not designed.
They probably have
for
to take off the screen and then rip out the chassis and just leave it bare bone or something.
Yeah, something, right? I mean, you're so desperate that you basically need to buy a ton of laptops. You can't get hold of graphics cards anymore. Crazy.
But it also touches on an interesting thing, because it was the PS3, wasn't it, that allowed you to use some of your spare spare processing. Yeah. For kind of scientific effort, because you could basically contribute together to do these sorts of things.
Yeah. I think there are some casual miners who not really doing this for a full-on living, basically dabble in some of that.
Yeah, I was just surprised that they've not thought about, so with the PS3 example, why haven't they just bought loads of PS4s to do to do crypto mining?
PS4s won't really get you anywhere.
True.
I think.
I think nowadays, but maybe the PS5 when it becomes more available.
Even that, I mean, it does a job with gaming, but I don't know that it will be any good at mining and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In this scenario, you definitely need something with big teraflops. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But going back to Nvidia, do we think these guys were actually, really for the gamers or not? Because there were some YouTubers out there who were just, and I think it was a bit tongue in cheek what they were saying. Nvidia saves PC gaming. I mean, I did the same thing as you. I just kind of laughed my arse off. I thought Nvidia saves PC gaming. No, I think it's more like Nvidia want to make a big profit somewhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they can. Yeah, we're definitely an important factor, I would say. But at the end of the day, they're a large corporation that needs to make money. That's just a fact of what it is as a company.
Yeah. But I hear that. I mean, the only thing that I would say is positive is that I hear they're really creating these cards using the old architecture.
Yes.
Turing rather than Ampere. So I mean, that's a good thing. I think that's at least something.
If they could repurpose some of the leftover stock, then it makes a lot of sense.
But if they're not doing that, does that mean they're basically telling fabs they're working with, because they don't have their own fabs in Nvidia? Obviously they're not Intel.
Yeah.
But are they actually diverting resource to make these crypto cards?
There must be some in order to do it.
And obviously diverting those resources, does that actually mean they're going to make fewer GPUs for gaming? So they're not really saving anybody.
Probably not. Which is where it's interesting. I don't know what I've not seen any of the pricing kind of behind these these CMPs and whether how they're actually going to compare. Because I imagine that someone's going to benchmark it, between them, between the different cards versus the CMP kind of cards. And if CMP is proven to be cost effective, it's all about cost, right? To whoever's doing the mining. If it is proven to be cost effective, they'll be all over it.
I'm not sure that Nvidia even care if it's cost effective to miners. I mean, because I just think this whole mining thing is going to be a relatively short term thing. Like the last one was, and like the one before that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm hoping people understand or at least the general public will start to pick up on the green aspects around crypto mining. and started to really consider the the impact it's been having. It's been years. I've definitely been saying it that I don't know what they're doing with farms or data centers in Iceland or whatever, but yeah, the overall impact is probably much bigger than people probably realize.
True. An interesting point that no one's really talking about, to be honest.
Mm.
The green aspect of it, the energy usage. But what are you gonna do though? I mean, that's the thing. People are there to make money. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if there's an opportunity, they will basically gravitate towards that. But I mean, it's an interesting thing. I mean, the whole crypto thing is obviously impacting the market, severely impacting, I would say, GPU availability.
Yep.
We've now got one of the biggest and the main GPU company now making a specific card for mining.
Yep.
Whether they're saving kind of like PC gaming or not is yet to be determined. But I know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to make it really attractive to make any sense for crypto miners, because otherwise they're just going to buy the 3070s, the 3060s. They'll buy, I'm sure they'll find ways to bypass the drivers. If it's only software based, there's going to be ways around it for them to get through it.
Well, this is going to be interesting, isn't it, Al? This is the question I have, is that when someone came out with this idea, did they start off by saying, guys, you know what? We've got to really save PC gaming. Help our gamers here. Or was it that, hey guys, you know what? There's a bunch of people who are really cash rich, and they'll buy all sorts of hardware that we put in front of them, as long as we brand it as kind of like for crypto mining. And what we'll do to sway them and push them down that direction is we'll basically throttle our existing cards to make it less attractive. So they might say, what the hell? Why bother with this? This other card does the job.
Maybe, but I think the average crypto miner is quite tech savvy. To even jump into it, I think they have to understand what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do, and I'm sure they could do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like,
but
Nvidia are also quite tech savvy.
True.
And how difficult have they made this? Like that's the.
This is where I think a benchmark is going to be the thing that changes it. They're not going to pre-order these things. At least that's what I think they won't anyway, without some performance stats. And as soon as they hear the performance stats, whoever jumps in first to do the performance check against a 3060 or 3070 and do the comparisons, the resulting kind of outcome to that will then determine whether there's going to be a surge of people jumping onto it. So it really does depend on the efficiency.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think this is just very questionable. You know what I mean? I think, I mean, whatever the outcomes are, for or against gamers, whatever the outcome is, I just think it's very questionable.
The motives.
Yeah, the motives. Like
I agree.
I can't really believe in, for myself, that it was basically, we're gonna save PC gaming. That can't have been the motive. What corporation really thinks like that? I can't believe it.
It's a secondary impact as a result of what they're trying to do.
Of course. There are always a number of reasons to do something, yeah. But the reason you acted, and that's the thing I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the peripheral effect it has, right?
Yeah.
But there's a reason that you mustered your resources and your people to do something, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always one reason, yeah.
Yep.
And whatever the kind of peripheral effects are the peripheral effects. And you know about those peripheral effects, because at the end of the day, you're thinking about the PR, you're thinking about mindshare, you're thinking about how you're perceived in the public eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just very kind of like, I'm rubbing my chin here.
Yeah. I don't think it was their primary goal or objective to what they were trying to achieve.
Indeed.
But an important secondary aspect and good PR that goes around it.
Indeed.